Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to The Real Deal featuring
A beard and nipples?
Why? Why? Why?
Welcome.
He did not run this by me. He did not run this by me.
Welcome.
This is an ambush. This is an ambush. No, I'm taking over the intro. Welcome to The Real Deal, where my co-host is a raging POS that he would implement a soundbite from DJ Beal talking about beard and nipples.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Real Deal. That's the beard. I'm nipples. That's gonna be our new nickname. You're the beard and I'm nipples. Anyway, so
I'm beard, he's nipples.
Yep.
That is terrible.
Well, that's what it is. Anyway, back to the video. So this week we finally watched The Wolf of Wall Street and kicked each other in the butts because we couldn't kick our own butts because we waited so long.
I mean, if you try hard enough, you can, but you might pull a hamstring.
I don't want to pull a hammy. That's the thing. So I gotta,
This is true. This is true.
Teamwork, But yes, we finally watched The Wolf of Wall Street. How many years after it came out? And I don't
2013. 2013. It's almost 10 years. And I hate myself for not watching it. And it was never a lack of interest because I'm one of the biggest Scorsese marks out there. It's just one of those that fell by the wayside and I never watched.
Yeah, I think for me there was so much hype about it that it kind of pushed me away from it. I feel like at least with me, if there's a huge hype about a movie, it tends to push me away because I'm I'll see it at some point, but I don't know. I don't always like to go on the hype of everything. But anyway, overall thoughts on The Wolf of Wall Street that didn't have any wolves in it.
Not a wolf one. I mean, why? Marty, how are you going to call something The Wolf of Wall Street and I don't see one pup, not one, just go roof. That was it. That you could have just done a cutaway to a little dog, little cute little wolf dog, and just went roof, and then boom, you could have ran the credits. Yeah. No, all seriousness. A couple things. First of all, it is definitely a movie that has cracked my top 5 in Scorsese movies. Because the last one was always a flux for me. Because again, definitely Goodfellas, definitely Casino, definitely Raging Bull, definitely The Departed, and then I kind of would be struggling with, man, do I put Gangs in there? Because Gangs of New York is amazing, but then you got Shutter Island, and then you got Cape Fear, which I believe I think arguably is De Niro's best performance ever. But this one for sure has cracked it. Definitively it is there. My second point, that what we were just saying about how long it took us to watch it, I have appreciated that I waited this long because where I'm at in my life now, per the story of Jordan Belfort, I have a better, I know I would have liked it if I watched it at the time in 2013 when it came out, but being in this capitalistic corporate greed, society, not just strictly stockbrokers, but just again the capitalistic viewpoint as a whole, this made me appreciate it more. And for the record, Jordan Belfort was a piece of shit. Extension is a piece of shit. But this is what movies used to be. It pushed boundaries. This is the first time that there's always been funny parts in a Scorsese film, But this was hilarious from start to finish. I had messaged Casey right off the bat. I'm like, I want to learn how to fly a helicopter now. And he goes, "Oh, you mean like high, drunk, almost crash? Learn how to fly a helicopter?" I'm like, "Yes, come on, let's go." But no, this was amazing, all-star cast. I would say, like, I'll make a, maybe not an unpopular opinion, whatever, but a hot take. Jonah Hill's best movie. I'll say that Jonah Hill's best movie. Hey, listen. I'm not. It's nothing like that about me burying my cousin, but if anybody's gonna fuck my cousin, it's gonna be me. And those damn teeth. The whole time I'm like, what? No, but just again, incredible, great story, amazing performances, and um, you get to see the early rendition of Harley Quinn from Margot Robbie.
Yes, yes. I mean, all great points. And again, like you said, I absolutely love this movie. I wish that I had watched it earlier. I also feel like watching it now, I appreciate it more, um, and kind of took more from it than I feel like I maybe would have back in 2013. Um, which is probably a good thing that I waited so long. But again, like you said, the cast, Jonah Hill, this wasn't this wasn't the Jonah Hill that you expected. You know what I mean? You kind of expect that kind of, I don't want to say typical Jonah Hill, but like he really got into the character. Like he really took this role seriously. And it was hilarious. Um, you know, I I popped because I didn't know um Ethan Suplee was in this. If
Yep,
you don't know
yep,
who he
yep.
is, he played one of the bullies on Boy Meets World, and I was like, yes. Even though he kind of had like a not a super small role, but he wasn't one of like really the starring characters. But I was definitely excited to see him in there. Um, as for Jordan, like that character, I felt like yes, he was obviously a piece of shit, a raging piece of shit. But you had those moments where you're like, okay, I could see why he would do that, or I could see my like you could see yourself like falling into his trap and like kind of you know uh befriending him, or because he had such a personality, and um just knew how to hook people. um One of my favorite scenes was, and I told Adam this, was when he first gets the job in that little like call center in that shopping center.
Yeah, and that I would say that's strip mall.
Yeah, in the strip mall. And he the first time he gets on the phone with a potential customer, he like you know he does it flawlessly and like immediately gets the sale, and like everyone in the whole office is like,
How'd you do that?
yeah, it was like amazing. Um, but yeah, it really grabbed you into the story. You wanted to know what was going to happen. You wanted to know, like, part of you. I feel like, at least for me anyway, part of you wanted him to get caught, but at the same time, part of you was like, I kind of want to see if he can get away with it.
Well, like I would just say, like it's not like it wasn't like The Mob
Yes.
where there's such a romanticism of The Mob in terms of the lifestyle, because it is one of those, like all they're doing is just trying to provide for their family and whatnot. Yes, they're obviously through criminal means. I'm not refuting that, but it is one of those things like nobody is untouchable. Eventually, people got gotten to. Like I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and I went to the Mob Museum. In phenomenal stuff, but you realize like You give props that they, did this for so long, but eventually, the law catches up to them, somebody rats or whatever. But in this case, he Jordan Belfort openly admits that he is a scumbag. Like he says, like he goes, yeah, like I do drugs, I drink like a fish, I this, I that. He's an adulterer. But he admits it. He loved the lifestyle, and I'll tell you this: he'd have been a great wrestling heel, manager, what have you. The dude could cut a promo, which is my favorite scene is when they buy the stock on that Mark Satin or the dude that makes those shoes. And he goes on that long diatribe, that long promo monologue, whatever, though. I've been poor and I'm rich now, but I've been poor. If I had to choose between being poor and being rich, I'm choosing rich 1,000,000 times fucking over, blah, 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 that whole thing. I'm like, that's like, of course, I would run through a wall for that guy, And I'll say this too. I appreciate his hustle of how he made money, because obviously he was a good bullshit, artist, but that's a salesman. Like he got the game down. It just, quick rise to power, but. If one thing tells me anything, it's like anybody. If I in no way, shape, or form will encourage anybody to do recreational drugs, but if you take Quaaludes that are 10 years old, little dabble, do you? Don't take 3/4 of the bottle. Which I'm telling you that whole sequence. That whole sequence where they take the Quaaludes, it's not given the effect. And then he has to go not meet with, but he has to call that dude from the restaurant. That dude played himself. Like so obviously he was around at the time. He was playing himself, but he's that dude's trying to tell DiCaprio, Belfort, don't have anybody call the house. Don't make calls from the house. You're bugged, this, that, and the other. And then the Quaaludes decided to kick in. Jordan, I can't understand you. And you had mentioned it. I just love the physical acting. Again, the physical acting from DiCaprio is spot on. Fidgeting and twitching on the floor, like, okay, walking's out. And he crawls and crawls and crawls. And those steps leading up to the front door, there's only like 5 steps, but his perception, there's like 50 of them. And he goes, and I knew damn well when he said, I made it back to the house with not a scratch on my car. I'm like, there is not a chance in hell. Granted, it was genius that they had him go so slow.
Yeah.
Which made it half-ass believable. I didn't believe it, but I'm like, okay, if this is true, I can kind of let that slide. But then the cops show up and be like, sir, were you behind the wheel of this car? And it's all completely fun. Get the fuck out of the way. It was like if Saw was a comedy.
I love when he gets back to the house. They're still fucked up on the drugs, and he's trying to yell at Jonah Hill and trying to grab him over the counter.
I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. And like I said, it was and again, for me, it was uncomfortable, but it was funny. But that whole sequence, especially Jonah takes that big bite of the piece of ham or the piece of the lunch meat, and he starts choking, and that goes on for a while. And Leo takes the thing of cocaine to snap him back out of it, and he gives him, does the chest compressions, whatever, though, and he comes up and starts doing the gorilla chest pump. That was up there. Like nothing tops the adrenaline shot scene in Pulp Fiction, but to me, it was in that breath of what is fucking happening? What is happening?
It was oh there's so many great scenes that, like, again, I wish that I had seen this movie so much earlier than I did.
Oh, even the they do it for like a quarter of the movie, which I did appreciate. Like at the end of Goodfellas, when they show Henry in court, like obviously there he's in a courtroom, but he's doing the voiceover in person where he's talking directly into the camera. And that's what they did with Leo here, where they're obviously showing the forefront of where he's at, whatever, but he's explaining
Yeah,
business practices and this, that, the other. And again, essentially breaking down the fourth wall. But then he would always end it up with, nah, let's face it, you don't give a shit.
yeah,
So I'm like, it's genius. Just again, Scorsese is a master. He's a master at filmmaking. He is a master of picking music for movies. He's absolutely the best at it. Like the songs he picks for certain scenes is impeccable.
yeah, yeah. Again, so many so many great scenes, just filmed perfectly, acted just amazing. Again, I can't I can't put over enough the cast. I think, they casted this movie perfectly. I I can't imagine anyone else playing these characters. I really can't. They got it, and again, I already want to watch it again.
But Casey,
Yeah, yeah, first of all, I'm nipple.
sell me this pen.
That was genius, though.
That was genius. Absolutely.
Yeah, just the way he did it. He's like, "Sell me this pen." All right. I need to
It's a
write something down.
pen that
Here,
I
borrow
can write stuff with. Sell me this pen.
this. Yeah, but then like when they're at that like diner, he's like, "Sell me this pen." All right. Let me write something down. Oh, here, I have a pen. What?
Now here's well, then I can't believe we've gone this long without talking about it. But did you notice who the presenter was?
Uh, I may have.
That was Jordan Belfort.
Oh,
That was the real guy.
okay. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, how hard is it to introduce yourself to yourself? But yeah, because I had seen like a couple of quick little blurbs that he's like done on TikTok, whatever. Though it was our shout out to Ghost from TikTok. Check his shit out. Stuff's amazing. He pointed that out to me. He goes like, "No, dude, that's legit. The Wolf of Wall Street." Which, by the way, I think we'd also should put it out there. The Wolf of Wall Street was the name of an article where he was interviewed, and you see it in the movie. He gets
Yep.
interviewed by somebody, and it looks like it's a very nice, pleasant conversation, blah, blah, blah. But the reporter or the journalist rags him, saying that he is basically a reverse Robin Hood. He steals from the poor and gives to his rich buddies. And he called him the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep. Yeah, I do remember seeing that. Um, and then I also learned that hookers take credit cards. I didn't know that. That was new.
That could be my favorite words Rob Reiner has ever said was, "What kind of hooker takes credit cards? A rich one." And I wanted, and this is what I'm going to do with my other thing. I wanted more McConaughey.
Yes.
And granted, for the time frame, obviously it wasn't going to be a massive part, but that was pretty much like Jordan's inception of basically becoming, a great power broker, as a stockbroker. But it's when he start talking numbers where he's telling the waiter, like, I want you to pour me a double of blah blah blah. And I want you to come by every 5 minutes with the new one. And they're talking about a certain activity one may do on their own in the morning or after a workout, etc.
Yeah.
And maybe you should do it twice a day, but that's besides the point. Those are rookie numbers. Is this what you got to do?
We gotta get those are
Mm. God, it's so incredible.
it really is. I,
By the way, spoilers. Sorry, we just told you 3/4 of the movie.
I mean, if you haven't watched it by this point, it was out in 2013. Come on, I think.
Yeah, some things were told to me about it, but it didn't give anything away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of those movies. I feel like even if you get spoilers, you still want to watch it.
Oh, of course.
You know, it's still a movie that you're gonna get hooked on, and you're gonna want to watch it at least 5 times. I cannot put over how funny, and I didn't think it was going to be. You know, I didn't think I would be laughing through the entire movie. I thought it was, I mean, and it was a serious movie, but I didn't think that it was going to have as much comedy in it, and I'm glad that it did. Um, but yeah, that was definitely a good choice for us to pick to uh, review, I guess. You have anything else that you want to? I think we kind of.
I mean, just everybody stop what you're doing and go watch it if you've never seen it or if you just want to watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's our little discussion on the Wolf of Wall Street. I think we'll be doing these kind of reviews, short ones, nothing too long. We don't need to go a whole hour on talking about a movie that I'm sure most people have already seen.
Folks, let me tell you about Hobo with a Shotgun.
Anyway, but we'll be back next week. Not sure what we're gonna watch. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We'll make it a surprise. I think. Let's just make it a surprise because I have no idea. I really have no idea. Not a clue. We're already late on this. We were supposed to do it Monday, but stuff happened.
Stuff happens, yes.
Life happened, and yeah. So we'll figure out what we're gonna watch for next week. But until then, we should have some vidges out for the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. Again, don't know what. I'm sure we'll have a discussion at some point about something because there seems to be news every other day now about somebody getting injured or wanting their release or a company going out of business. I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, in the meantime of us talking, I'm sure somebody from AEW has been injured.
Yeah, no, probably. Anyway, we will see you on the Fippity Dippy.
Oh, yeah.
Beard and News out.